If you'd all please join me in welcoming our panelists here. We have Ambassador Patricia Espinosa. She's Executive Secretary of the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and also the founder of Women for Women and co-founder of Daughter for Earth, Zainab Salbi. Round of applause, please. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. So good seeing everyone. Well, as was said before, I'm Zainab Salbi. I'm the co-founder of Daughters for Earth, a fund and a campaign that aims at mobilizing women to be involved in climate solutions, funding women who are already doing climate solutions, and celebrating women in the sector. And I have the extreme pleasure of introducing everyone and being in conversation with Ambassador Patricia Espinosa. Ambassador Espinosa has a very unique history between being the youngest diplomat, Mexican diplomat, to serve at the Beijing 95 Women World Convention on Women, to then being the youngest ambassador, Mexican ambassador to Germany, and later to Slovakia, Slovenia, and the UN, and then serving the longest Minister of Foreign Affairs in Mexico, 2 consecutive terms, and the second historical woman in this position. And then later she moved to the climate movement, or the climate discussions, and she led COP16. She was the Executive Secretary at the UN Convention on Climate Change, among many other roles. A very robust career in both the women's space as well as the climate space. Ambassador Espinosa, it's truly an honor to be in conversation with you here today. And I want to start us with the question of, you have sort of this 2 bookends, right? 1995 UN Convention on Women, historical, and you wrote the document for that, actually. To then being involved,
it was a collective effort. It was a collective effort,
as
right?
women always do.
Yes.
To right now being engaged in the, have a robust career in the climate discussion at a multilateral level as well as in all sectors. Where are women in the discussion, and particularly climate, and how has the role of women evolved to the better or to the worse since that 1995 convention?
Well, first of all, thank you, Zainab, and thank you also what you do with women for Daughters for Earth. It is very, very important that women are also celebrated, that they become visible, that they become acknowledged. So let me go directly into your question, because we do not have a lot of time. I had the privilege of participating as part of the Mexican delegation in Beijing, and to be directly responsible for supporting the drafting group, the group that drafted the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action, which until today, I believe, continues to be the most relevant, the most comprehensive framework for women's rights and for women's empowerment and advancement. When we look at the situation today, I would just make the following reflection. If we had to negotiate today the Beijing platform again, I'm not sure that we would be able to get an agreement around all the issues that are covered in that document. So, which means the scenario today is very mixed. I think it wouldn't be fair to say everywhere we are going backwards. But the truth is that we do see a lot of efforts to bring that progress backwards. One of the issues, for example, that was extensively discussed in Beijing was the question of the reproductive health and reproductive rights. And we are seeing that issue coming up again and again and again. Yeah. And that was already adopted in 1995. So what does it mean? It means that we need to continue working on these issues. It needs that we need to continue supporting women. This is why the role of Vital Voices is so important, and the big network that Vital Voices has is such a powerful instrument for that.
Let's go to climate, because women are missing from the climate discussion. They're not missing. You were part of it. There are a few other amazing women also were part of it. But as a collective, the larger collective of women feel that our voices are not fully included. Indigenous women voices are not included. Funding, of all funding that goes to environmental issues, 2% goes to women and 1% goes to Indigenous women particularly. So it's very marginalized. Can you give us a read of why the marginalization of women, and why we may say simply sexism, right? But what can we do to ensure that women are front and center at the negotiating tables as it relates to the biggest crisis facing humanity?
Absolutely, Zainab. It is very, very unfortunate to see that in spite of the fact that under the convention, there was a decision taken already in 2001 in order to make a call for delegations to include women in their delegations and to really incorporate the gender perspective. That happened in 2010 at the COP16 in Cancun, to include the gender perspective into any plans that relate to addressing climate change. The truth is that as of today, well, let's say the figures we have, or the figures I have, is in 2021, COP27 in Glasgow. Many of you may remember that conference. For example, of the 110 heads of state and government that were there, only 7 were women. And it was really heartbreaking to see the picture of heads of state and government and just thinking, this is not the reflection of the world in the 21st century. So what do we need to do? We need to work at different levels. We need to continue to work at the level of grassroots, where we know that women, and in particular Indigenous women, are incredibly wise, and they can bring up solutions to address climate change. It is not only that women are really disproportionately affected by climate change. They can also be the providers and the ones that come up with the solutions. So we need to do that. But at the same time, we also need to work to empower women and to build capacity so that they can be effective in influencing policies, in influencing, for example, in companies also corporate strategies, influencing the politicians that they elect, making sure that this is one of the demands that is on the table. Even today, how many political campaigns do we see that give the attention that is needed to women and climate? None, really, none. So we need to continue working on that.
And I can't think of a better ending for our very short conversation. Thank you so much. I understand you're advising and guiding Vital Voices strategy on how to work on climate change and with women. It's truly an honor as a board member of Vital Voices, a very proud board member. It's truly an honor to collaborate with you and to hear your expertise. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you, Zainab. Thank you all. Thank you.